Hello and welcome back to J.P.s Retro World. I'm your man J.P., and as usual, I'd like to welcome you. And today, this is actually my third attempt to do this video. So today, due to the recent passing of actor Carl Weathers, we're going to be talking about dun da da dun da dun da 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 Rocky. Primarily Rockies 1 and 2. Now, for those of you who haven't seen Rocky, let me just break this down for you. Rocky, played by Sylvester Stallone, plays a very low level, very low level boxer who boxes mostly in like church basements. Primarily, there's like this one Catholic church that has professional boxing in their basement, and people can come and make bets and stuff and whatever. So in the opening scene, of course, we see Rocky in a fight against Spider Rico, another low-level boxer. So Rocky wins the fight, but it's kind of a lackluster kind of thing. It's like a very dark, dingy place to have a fight. Anyway, so then, but then we find out that Rocky also, by day, is a kind of a tough guy collector for a local loan shark. So Rocky goes to the docks and collects money from people who have borrowed money from this loan shark. And so we see Rocky kind of roughing up a guy on the docks or whatever. But at the same time, Rocky's also falling in love with his best friend's sister. Now his best friend is kind of a drunken buffoon named Polly, played by Burt Young. And then his sister is Adrian, played by Talia Shire. So Rocky starts dating Polly's sister, Adrian, but he also gets invited to fight the world heavyweight champion, Apollo Creed, which at first he kind of is reluctant because he doesn't feel worthy to fight the world champion, Apollo Creed, played by Carl Weathers. So, but initially he agrees to fight Apollo Creed, and he starts to train himself, but then the guy that owns his local gym, Mick, decides he wants to train Rocky. So at first Rocky's like, no, you weren't there for me when I needed you, so I'll just train myself. So then he chases him out of his dumpy apartment. And then as Polly's walking away, Rocky chases him down and said, wait, okay, you're right, I need you. So he trains for this fight. Meanwhile, he's in a relationship. He just starts dating Adrian, and at the same time, Polly's in the mix, being drunk and buffoonish, like he always does. So anyway, so on the eve of the fight, Rocky goes to the arena, and at this point, he's trained really hard, and he goes to the arena just to kind of feel things out, and he looks at the poster of himself, and he tells the promoter, the poster's wrong because that's not the color shorts I'm wearing. And the promoter's like, well, you're not really going to win, are you? I'm sure you'll put on a good show, but just, go home, get some rest, and, we'll see tomorrow. So then Rocky is kind of shaken by that. He goes back to the apartment where Adrian is waiting for him, and he tells Adrian, I don't think I can beat this guy. But, nobody's ever gone the distance with him, so that's all I want to do is just go the distance. So they have the fight. It's a good fight, Apollo Creed, kind of wipes the floor with Rocky, but Rocky, hangs in there. He gets in some really good shots, and by the end, they're both battered and bloodied and bruised. But, Rocky goes the distance like he wanted. But Apollo still wins the fight by decision, by split decision. But so at the end of the movie, Rocky's happy because he went the distance with the champion, and he's got the girl, he's got Adrian. So that's where the first movie ends, and it's to me, it was always like a really, really epic film. Just this great story. And for those who haven't seen it, they might be thinking, oh, this is a movie about boxing. Not really. Boxing is kind of a backdrop, and it's just what the main character happens to do for a living, but it's not really the main focus of the movie. It's actually, if anything, it's a love story between Rocky and Adrian. So in the second movie, takes place where the first one left off, where both Apollo and Rocky are on their way to the hospital after this big fight. And then once they get to the hospital, Apollo tells Rocky, "Hey man, I want a rematch with you. Nobody goes to distance with me. I'm gonna rough you up. I'm gonna show you how to box. You got lucky." And so Rocky's like, "No, no, Apollo. I'm just I'm gonna retire. I don't need to do anymore. You know what I'm saying." That's sorry, terrible Rocky impersonation. But after the fight, after Rocky heals in the hospital, he's approached by a guy that has a toy company, and a lot of people, they want Rocky to do endorsements because he's now this famous boxer who, went the distance with the world champion. So now all these people want him to do commercials. So he agrees to do all these commercials, but he can't read the cue cards, so it doesn't really work out. So he ends up not being able to really do commercials. So he ended up having to get a job. So then he tries to get an office job. No one will hire him. So then he goes and gets a job, like a manual labor job, at a meat packing plant. But that job doesn't last very long because they have to let him go because, there's a recession or something. They have to let him go. So he ends up agreeing to fight Apollo. Apollo had been wanting him to get back in the ring, so he put out propaganda in the newspaper to try to get into his head. So then Mick shows up at Rocky's house like, "Oh, we gotta fight this guy." So Rocky agrees, much to the dismay of Adrian, who doesn't want Rocky to fight because he's got a bad eye. So anyway, but Rocky agrees to fight Apollo. And there's this big epic second fight where this time Apollo takes it a little bit more seriously. But again, Rocky goes the distance. But this time, by one count, Rocky ends up beating Apollo to their feet. Rocky wins the world title. But in the movie, he ends up getting married to Adrian, and they end up getting pregnant and having a baby. But Adrian, goes into a coma, and then Rocky doesn't want to train very hard, and Mick's like upset with him because like, "Come on, man, you're gonna fight the world champion. You gotta fight. You gotta train hard. You gotta really train." But Rocky's messes with his head's all messed up. So then when Adrian gets out of the coma, she tells Rocky, "Hey, not only I want you to fight Apollo, but I want you to win." So from that point on, there's this epic training scene where Rocky's like training hard. He's hitting the bag, he's doing push-ups, he's chasing a chicken around and stuff. So anyway, it's a really, really, really great movie. Both movies are just phenomenal, just excellent movies. And if you haven't seen them, I recommend going out and seeing them, whether you can find them on streaming, but I have the Blu-ray. This is a Christmas present from my main man, Joe. Joe, thanks, buddy. Thanks, brother. I just watched all of these movies, and I'm going to talk about all of them, but today I just wanted to cover the first two. Because those are the first two where Rocky and Apollo were kind of the focal point. And but the third one's a lot of fun. Hulk Hogan and Mr. T are both in the third one. And Dolph Lundgren is in the fourth one. And then the fifth one's not very good. But then the sixth one, oh boy. Boy, is the sixth one pretty good. And then they get into the Creed movies. Creed 1, 2, and 3. I like the first two. The third one, not so much. The third one wasn't very good. But anyway, we'll eventually get into those movies. I'm hoping that eventually, me and Joe can get together and we can talk about these movies extensively because these are terrific. They're fantastic. One of my favorite movie sagas of all time. And it's all thanks to Sylvester Stallone. That guy right there. Of course, you can only see him from behind there, but There he is. Rocky Balboa. Love it. Okay, so that is gonna do it for this video. Coming up, I'm gonna do more when I get the time. I'm gonna record more action figure matches for the very few of you that like them. But hey, as long as one or two people like it, I'm gonna keep doing it. So, but after that, I'm gonna talk about a certain television show, a retro 80s television show that I like, that I always thought was hysterical. And I'll talk about the show itself, and I'll talk about a couple of my favorite episodes. So tune in for that. And with that, if you are new, please go ahead and take the time to click that like button. Please take the time to subscribe. Both help me out tremendously. And I will definitely... I don't know. I'll definitely see you next time.